Welcome, deviant drivers, to another episode of A Drink with a Driver. It's been a while since we've seen you, and as you can see, I'm joined with a guest host today, Junkai, who's normally hosting with me, is out sick. So this is Bad Rock. You all know Bad Rock. He's been on the program before in other capacities, and so tonight he's gonna fill in for Junkai, who's not feeling so great. And as being a technological person like I am, and on the cutting edge of technology, I know how things work. He's sick, and I know how computer viruses work. So I don't want him to stay away from my computer and any kind of things that I've got going on here. So Bad Rock's going to help us out. He's not sick. Bad Rock, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good, man. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Good. Yeah,
It says under very sorry circumstances, though. Hopefully Junkai's back up and amongst the living soon.
yeah, we all hope so. We all hope so. So tell us a little bit, since we got you here. This is kind of the first time you've been on the program with us in this capacity. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, what you drinking tonight?
Oh yeah, so actually here I'm drinking an Athletic Brewing Company. So this is actually a non-alcoholic beer. I am trying to do a mostly sober October. I wrote an article about it on like the first of the month. It was just like, oh, that seems like okay, it seems like a good time of year. I'll do that. But I say mostly sober because actually I already have plans to watch the F1 race with Boat later this month. And I was like, that gets a carve out. I'm having beers that day. So, but yeah, otherwise, keeping it legit, non-alcoholic, but still enjoy the flavor of the beer.
Nice, cool,
What are you
awesome.
drinking?
Coors Light, as usual.
Very nice.
Yeah, and my koozie, which is provided to me by my wife, who sells insurance. So we always support her. So
just slap a Fanatec sticker on that bad boy.
That's right.
Sponsorship.
That's right. That's right. If Fanatec needs to get their game together, they need to send me a shirt, and they need to send me some koozies. That's what Absolutely. They need to do. Yeah. That's it. So tell us, what's kind of the origin of your name? How did Bad Rock come about? What's the story behind that?
So this is a really lame story. Bad Rock Smith was taken.
Ah.
Yeah, that's not even a joke. Like when I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19, and I was like, oh, I should like leave behind the internet name of my youth and like select the internet name that I'll use now in my adulthood. And I thought like I'd go for an internet tough guy thing. I was like, oh, like Bad Rock, but then like some kind of really lame generic last name like Smith. And Bad Rock Smith was actually taken already. So Bad Rock Jones.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that was like 24 years ago. So that's really sad.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how these names we all develop them, so long ago, and most of us in ways we were like, you had to create something to get the profile so you could play whatever game it was 20 years ago we were trying to do, and you're like, just whatever, that's cool. And it's like, yeah, throw 2000 after it or whatever, whatever
exactly,
you got to do. Yeah. So you're participating in pretty much, I believe, all of our leagues. You obviously are in the GT3, GT4 World Cup. You're a GT3 driver. You do participate in the Sunday Cup. You did participate in the Endurance Cup, yes?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did just the F1 race.
Yeah. What did you think about that?
Whew, man, that was really taxing. Like the thing that I took away from it the most was like when I got up and I had like little aches and pains, or weirdly my feet hurt more than I expected that they would, and that kind of stuff. But all I could think about was like I was just like sitting in a fairly comfortable chair, not getting shaken around at like however many G's for like this many hours at like top speed. It's like these guys in real life, whew. Like, I mean, if I'm just like this nerd and I'm kind of getting beat up from just sitting in the same place for 3 hours, what are these guys doing? Like, what incredible athletes,
Yeah, it is. It's like it kind of makes you really appreciate it, because at the end, you go through and you're like you feel exhausted, and you didn't move, you didn't go anywhere. Literally all you're doing is this and the pedals for 3 hours, but you're emotion, like mentally drained.
Yeah.
And it's like you go and you're just like, oh, it's like the rest of your Sunday is just recuperating.
So you say that it's funny because now that you say that, I realize that we ran that race on the day of my wife and my 12th anniversary, and so like right after the race, we got in the car and went out to like go on kind of just a date. But really, the plan was just like, we'll find a place and we'll like throw some darts or play some pool, have some drinks, and it took me fully like an hour and a half of like driving in the car, getting to where we were, being there, like having a half a beer before I was finally like there, like in that moment, because I was so dialed in for 3 hours on just like just this. It was crazy how it like stuck with you. Yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So let's talk about, it's been a while. Since we've had a drink with a driver, we've had a lot go on. We don't have time to get into all of it. The biggest event that's recently happened was obviously over the weekend, the GT3 event, GT3, GT4, GT World Cup that took place. This was something that everybody was waiting on. A lot of thought, a lot of preparation, a lot of just things went into this, rules and different things to make this happen. And so everybody, this was obviously the big thing everybody's been waiting for in the league. And it finally took place. It was almost like Christmas morning. It felt like it was never going to happen, but it
Absolutely.
did. And so you're participating like me in GT3. So let's just talk about the race. What did you think? How did it go for you?
Well, it was really obviously, like you say, really super exciting to have the new series start off, and a long time coming, and you guys were teasing it on the podcast, for a couple of months. So like anticipation, at least for myself, and I know for a lot of other people, very high. And then the quality sessions were great as well. But getting into that race, my kid was laughing at me because I was sitting down and I was like, oh my god, kid, like the trepidation I feel about this is like it's unreal, like how like I'm the anticipation, the dread, but like in a good way. And she's kind of laughing at me, and she's 16, so she's gonna laugh at me anyway. But yeah, like I really shook a little bit, right? And you get down and you go through the qualifier for that race, and was hoping for the best. I think I want to say it was maybe a P6, P7 for me, but it was okay. I definitely kind of got smoked off the line by a couple of guys, but the opening lap seemed pretty clean. Unfortunately, I kind of owned myself a couple of times, during the race, and made a couple of big mistakes. Took a little bit too much of the track and spun out several times in several of the same places, which is also, equally, you start to get in your own head about that. But I think that, head down and trying to run my own race. And, I think the tire strategy was strong as well. So ended up finishing seventh, sixth, because Boat was a reserve driver. Who I think we need to just get into Boat because he was a sub for Team McLaren. But I just want to put a pin on that one. But as a rep of Team McLaren, and I just happen to be in the seat, like we should talk about Boat. The definitely the number one draft pick for a reserve driver that anyone could ask for. Holy cow!
He's a strong driver,
Whew,
very,
yeah,
very strong. When we did the qualies, which we'll talk about in just a second, but when he did his quali, I qualified him after the fact as one of the reserve drivers with another driver. I don't recall exactly which one right now, but and he posted his time. And I mean, when it hit up on there, his fastest lap, and I saw it, my eyes just were like, you got to be kidding me. And then he's like, get down. He's like, man, I could have hit that other corner a little bit better. He's like, I got a little slidey, squirrely at the top of the hill. And I'm like, you got, you could do more than that. And I mean, he was, I think on the quality time, he was by far the fastest
if my
by,
memory serves, I think he was a full second over Vic, who was already like Vic was like head and shoulders, I think, out in front.
yes,
Yeah, so
Vic was a half a
yeah,
second faster than Zen, and Boat was right at a second faster than Vic.
yeah,
So
it's insane.
that's a ton.
I mean, and Vic's, and let's shout out Vic too, because holy cow, his quali lap was insane. He was like on the throttle on the way down the hill through Mount Panorama there for the Barretts there, and it was just like it was nuts. Like I was literally like, what is he doing? And he
Yeah,
pulled it off. Like it was great. It was
he
incredible.
did. He did an excellent job. And and he put up a smoking lap. And when he did, I saw that and I was like, wow, that's gonna be a tough time to beat.
Yeah,
So that's gonna be a solid one. And so
Watching that lap was one of those things for me. It was literally like, that's the difference between me and that guy. Like that, like just that.
impressive. It was
Right.
impressive.
Yeah.
What did you think about the quali format? Were you surprised?
Yes, and I really liked it. I got very lucky because that was one of the only tracks that I practiced, and I practiced for about 30 minutes right before the morning of the quali, and it was because it was the one that scared me the most. Like I just was like, this is if it's this, I'm gonna have serious problems. So I need to be able to at least string together one okay lap here if I want to have any kind of shot at placing in GT3. And my own estimation was I figured I would be at the back of the top split was what I was kind of aiming for, what I hoped for, and where it turned out where I wound up. So like I was pretty happy about that. But man, really intense format. The surprise I thought was great. Everybody in my session threw in really clean laps. Like it was really a good overall session, but you could cut the tension with a knife the whole time. It was great. It was a really great format.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were putting it together, we were like, we need something that nobody is expecting. And everybody, or not everybody, I can't say that, but many people hate the VGT cars. I do personally. I like stuff that's real.
Yeah.
And I said, so we use GT3, but no, everybody's gonna think GT3 cars, or maybe because we're doing GT4, they're gonna use GT4 cars, but nobody saw VGT coming. And then we were like, we got to mix it up between the tracks and the cars, so we can't know it's coming, which one it is, and so the car comes out, and then it's like the track, and I was like, this is the one track I didn't want out of
Yeah.
all of them. It's the one track I didn't want.
Yeah.
And it came up, and I was like, oh man, this is terrible. And it was, I mean, it was the way it was, but it was fair for everybody.
That was kind of the thing, right? Is it gave everyone got put in the blender on it, and
Yep.
everyone kind of got what they got out of it. And I thought it was a really strong way to do it all. And more than that, like aside from just like a good like an efficient way to decide who's going to be in what split, it was really like that, ratcheted the drama up a little bit, like it made it a little bit more fun, and it really played into, I think, the sort of anticipation that you guys had built up over the course of the months up to it, as you were sort of slowly unveiling the format and stuff. It was really good. It was a nice touch.
Nice, nice. So yeah, we had the first race. So everybody picked teams, and we did the team selection, which went, and then of course teams picked cars. Did you find after the first race, do you feel that your team picked the right car? Did you pick the wrong car? You love it? You hate it? What do you feel about it?
So in no particular order, I got to say, we ended up with the McLaren, and I'm really pleased with that choice. I didn't really have a lot of strong opinions coming into it. I'm not really the kind of player who tends to remember, like, except for the cars that sort of become meta in sport sometimes, or on a time trial, and you get sort of accustomed to, like, say, the Supra, which I was lucky enough to wind up with sort of on the tail end of the Group 3 stuff last time. So it's like, okay, Supra, here's a car I know, that's fine. But most of them, it'd be like, yeah, I couldn't pick them out of a lineup at all.
Yeah.
So we got the group chat together really quickly after the team selection, and our Captain Texas Speedstars there, TX Speedstars, basically said, hey, here are the kind of cars that I favor and in this order. And everybody kind of threw in their thoughts. And I kind of said from the beginning, like, guys, I'm just, you guys pick, and I'm just going to kind of learn whatever you got, because that's kind of the other thing is I don't think I'm strong enough for the car to ultimately be what holds me back. I think that it's going to be like I could rise to the level of whatever they give me, and I'd rather the faster guys be comfortable. So McLaren was high on the list. I think Aston Martin was high on the list. I want to say that Mercedes was on there somewhere. But ultimately McLaren was far and away the top choice for multiple people. And in driving it, I really enjoyed it as well. But we all assumed that it would go because I think we're in the sixth or seventh selection. So, pretty much last. And we were pretty sure that the McLaren was going to go, and it didn't. So I was further confused because there was a lot of chit chat in the Discord about like, oh, the McLaren kind of sucks and this and that and the other thing. And I didn't understand what's true and what's not true. So I kind of was in my own head about it because I'm like, what's wrong with me that I think this car is really like awesome and well balanced and kind of middle. I don't mean middle of the road in a bad way. I mean, like, it really kind of felt like it was excellent at kind of everything, but not really great at anything necessarily. And I think that that's probably going to favor at least me personally for the season. So great. But what do you think of the McLaren? Can I ask you that? Because I saw that chit chat, and what's the truth of it? Am I crazy for liking that car?
That's more of a Junkai thing. I know he loves it. I am not an
Led it to
MR
victory
fan.
last time, right?
He did. He
Yeah.
did. He won with it. I'm not an MR fan. Now I say that, but I do actually like the Porsche. That's the only one I really and it was on the top of our list again for to pick. But we again, just like you, we assumed and we knew it's not going to make. We were fourth round pick. We knew that Porsche wasn't going to last through 4 rounds, but we had it up there anyway. I think also at the top of the list, another one was I believe Supra was up there. Well, GTR was up there. We again assumed it won't make it, but if it does, we'll take it. Uh, and then there was I think Supra was in there too. Junkai favors his driving style favors MR cars. Mine, I prefer FR cars. So we kind of chatted about it and we were like, look, you know, same as you. I'm like, I'll adapt if I need to.
Yeah.
And he feels the same way. He's like, I can adapt and probably should maybe learn a bit more about FR since I drive mostly MR. And so, we were like, we'll roll with the punches either way. We also want to make sure that our GT4 car is also strong and solid and stable for those guys' driving style, because we want to make sure that everybody's got a car that they like. It's not necessarily anybody's number one pick or favorite, but one that everybody can live with, because you got 4 drivers you're dealing with at the end of the day, and that's
Yeah.
complicated things that teams haven't had to deal with in the past.
Which I think the team dynamic really, I gathered that was probably something for the Group 3 series that just passed by, but I wasn't in that one. I'm really loving that there are other people on the team to sort of commiserate with about like strategy and about what kind of times are you seeing, and we've set up data collection that we can all like sort of reference at the same time, and that team dynamic is again, for me, I hate to like cheerlead for the league, but like I love it so much anyway. But then now that there's the team, it's also this great way, because like I'm talking to people I wouldn't necessarily normally talk to, and like that you're not going to stop talking to them after you're not on the same team anymore, or that kind of stuff. It's just it's a lot of fun to have other people to bounce strategy off of that isn't just like I'm going to throw this into the Discord chat and hope someone will give me like a representative lap time. You know what I mean? That I can stack against myself or something.
Yeah, you at least know. I mean, when you throw it up there, you in the general chat about lap times and where everybody's at, you kind of read it and you're like, is he telling the truth?
It's Victor's meme, man. It's the perfect meme. Don't believe his lies. Every time. It's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good, and it does. It makes you. It changes the dynamic too, because when you're developing a strategy, you have to develop it for the team, and you're kind of. And it's interesting. You could hear it on the audio on Sunday. You heard people. I mean, everybody's got their little call and their little, quarterback little, go +2 and blue 5 or whatever, and everybody's come up with their own little thing, and you have to adapt that to each person on your team and make sure that as a team you're whole, not just worry about yourself. So it's a lot involved for it.
Absolutely. A whole new dynamic for everything, considerations and stuff like that I would not have otherwise, and it's really fun to like bring more stuff into the mix.
Yeah, of course, of course. And the so the track Brands Hatch, I think that was a tough one for our first race. I mean, Brands Hatch isn't an overly complicated track, but it's complicated enough that everybody had brand new cars. Everybody's kind of learning that car. And as much testing as I'm sure all the teams went through, there's still a lot of things you don't know about it that you're trying to adjust to, and it's not the easiest track to learn it.
Yeah, it's great because, as you say, it's like pretty straightforward, right? It's not like overly complicated. There's no like sort of a gotcha corner or anything like that. But at the same time, you sort of have to put it all together pretty correctly over and over again to be able to turn in that consistent fast lap, right? There's all these like places that you can make these tiny mistakes that really do start to add up to a couple of seconds a lap. And again, to your point, when you're getting used to that car at the same time that you're getting used to the track, for myself, what I found with the McLaren was I was having more trouble with curbs. If I was, getting on the throttle on the curb, the car would really get away from me a lot more than it did in some of the other Group 3 cars. And I still just had not fully come to grips with that, even though I consider Brands Hatch to be one of my favorite circuits. So, I mean, just really illustrates what you're talking about. It was a challenge, I think, that everybody had to face.
Yeah. And we'll talk about next session round 2 later. Oh, you're excited.
Oh my God. You saw me with that. Yeah, I mean, well, whatever. Yeah,
we'll get there. We'll get there. I am not excited.
I'm like, right, I don't want to brag, but
so GT3. So talking about the leaderboard while we're here, we'll talk about it. Boat did win, and he did post up 20 points individually for him. He obviously cannot contribute points to the team dynamic. However, second went to Junkai. So this is like the first race in 78 races he hasn't won. So I know he was feeling under weather and he raced sick, which props to him for putting up.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, like those poor F1 drivers in Qatar this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you got COVID? Yeah. Tough. Here's your helmet.
Junkai was just throwing up on himself.
Yeah. Here's a bottle of water and a Dayquil. Shut the hell up, get in a car and go to work. Yeah. So Junkai puts up he put up second place, which was he got him 16 points. Folgore was third, followed by Zin, and then myself fourth, and then Dirksey fifth. So Folgore was he put himself in the scoreboard, at least the leaderboard. He is second. Finishing position was third.
So I'd like just a couple of comments here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Both related to Team McLaren, obviously the best team. I just have to say, we're so starting in third place as a team was always our team strategy. No, what I want to say is that we did legitimately. This was a joke that came up, but I thought it was hilarious. Boat was talking about all right, so Bad Rock, once you get in front of me, this is our strategy. Once you get in front of me, no one will get past me. I will defend like a lion, and you'll go on. And I was like, Boat, I super appreciate that, but we both know that I'm not getting in front of you, and that's not going to happen in any reasonable. It's so here's what you need to do: you just come in first place so that we can deny Junkai the first place points. We're just going to look to deny. And I was kind of just being funny, and then that's exactly what he did. So I can't speak highly enough for this reserve driver, guys. Hot prospect.
He did well, and kudos to him, and that brings into something that wasn't ever discussed or anything else, but yes, his victory he bought himself 20 points. He also, like you said, he secured that victory for himself as opposed to it going to Junkai, which does knock 4 points off the board of available points.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the season, that could be significant. Oh
yeah. I mean, there's no Max Verstappen running away with it just yet. I mean, it's early in the season, and maybe later on those 4 points, it turns out maybe they won't matter, but they may make all the difference. That might make all of the difference to Team McLaren as we take first place victory in the Group 3 and Group 4 World Challenge.
Well, I wish you luck. Talking about team standings, Team BMW is first. Right now, we are at 36, and second is Porsche. Porsche hanging strong. Porsche won last year. Porsche hanging second right now, just 2 points behind. And Team McLaren third, rounding out podium, 32. So just 4 points behind.
Can we just insert that meme right now where the guy fighting the gold medal, grabbing the girl's ass, he bends her over to kiss her, and it is shooting the thing. It's third place podium. That's me right now with Team McLaren.
I'll go look for it. I'll see if I can find it. And so the teams are and not far off. I mean, it's the points are very good and very close. I mean, it's only round one. We've got several rounds to go. and there's some difficult tracks coming up that are going to be, beneficial for some cars and not beneficial for others.
Yeah. I
So
mean, so Interlagos in particular, a lot of windy curves and stuff, and only the one big long straightaways. So I mean, some of those cars that got a lot of power and aren't quite as nimble, they're going to suffer around there. But they'll get their second chance later on in the season too when we hit some of these other tracks.
Interlagos is going to be a track for Team Subaru. Team Subaru, if they practice, if they know that track, if they use their practice effectively, have the opportunity to dominate there. That could be the meta car for that track if employed properly.
It could be.
So GT3, that sums it up. That's where we're at. We've got a long way to go to get to the end, but let's shift gears, so to speak, and go to GT4. GT4, did you watch that race or the stream or anything, or just watch the replay later on?
I did end up catching the first couple of laps on a replay, and then kind of had to step away. But looked like a pretty good clean start from everybody. Much like the GT3 stuff, there was a lot of honestly heart and mouth stuff for me watching the replay, where it was like, oh god, they're gonna hit. There was an interesting event off the line though, where no, I gotta check my notes. Saito missed the start, right? And then he got hit from behind there, and I think it was an Oracle and another guy kind of just charged up past them, and so that was, it kind of got really scrappy right off the beginning, and I was pretty sure they were going to get into it around turn one as well, but it all stayed pretty clean, real close. There was a little bit of rubbing and stuff, but everybody kind of stayed clean and orderly all the way through, and yeah, good stuff. It was really, but I mean, I was waiting for it. I was like waiting for the, Hamilton just boop, turn it in on turn one and just wiping them out. But it's good.
Yeah, GT4 had a great race, and a lot of these guys, I was really looking forward to GT4 when I was watching everything and doing the live stream there, because quite a good number of them, this was their first competition within the league in a real serious league competition. And then the others, a lot of them like Floody and Glovis and a huge jar and a couple others were GT3 drivers now in GT4.
Yeah.
And so I was interested to watch those guys transition to the GT4 car.
I recognize so many of those names from Sunday Cup and from Fun Nights and stuff that I guess I didn't recognize that they, like, some of them are, this is the first time in the Group 4 stuff. But really interesting to see. And, Glevis is it is Glevis, right, that just got the wheel, right, and is making the transition. So I mean, like, I think we all know why maybe suddenly into Group 4, but I kind of expect him to come storming back from my place in the near future. But for everybody, it's like with anyone in the league, it's the same thing with the Group 3 races. Rewatching it, everybody gets close, everybody's respect is given and shown. It's always awesome to see that stuff. It's like why we're all here.
Yeah. Glovis is he'll settle in. We had the actual GT4 safety car, the real safety car in GT4. We didn't have one in GT3 because Glovis is the safety car driver for GT3. However, I think it was Calhow he was letting use his wheel. So Calhow like stopped by and like went to his place because he happened to be wherever. It was really weird, but Calhow just like, hey, showed up to his place, drove his race, and see you later, jetted out. It's like,
it's awesome. Like, I can't imagine knowing anyone that has a wheel to race on, or like the ability for me to go and do that, let alone being able to just be like, I'm just gonna swing through and do that, right? No problem. But it's great.
Yeah. So talking about their leaderboard, GT4, Floody ran away with it. I mean, it was a battle too, because it was back and forth, but he came out on top with the Porsche. Floody won. Also had fastest lap, so he garnered that extra point. So he got 21 points. Huge Jar with a
Don't sleep on Huge Jar for Team McLaren. Great day.
Huge Jar did awesome. I mean, it was a battle all day long. And they went back and forth. He did awesome. Came out second place with 15 points. and Glovis rounded out the podium spot with 13. And once again, their teams are in order of BMW on top, Porsche, and then McLaren with points. So teams are setting pretty solid where they're at, close, very close in points. Only 2 points separate each position, first, second, third, in the points positions. So I think a lot of things are going to change up with Interlagos, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where all that stuff shakes out. You want to ask at this point, and it's only after one race, so it's really premature to draw conclusions. But with that, order of teams, like, is it the talent? Is it the car? Is it the track? Or is it total coincidence?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think got to be total coincidence. We're as far as Team McLaren goes, down 1 points paying driver, and it is what it is. But like I just feel like also what are you supposed to draw from one data set? How many conclusions are you supposed to draw from this? Except for that clearly Team McLaren will be coming out on top at the end of the season.
I hear you. I like the positive vibes. Yeah, there's not much you can draw. I mean, did teams get lucky? Did drivers get lucky? I'm sure, just like with us, when we picked the BMW, that was one nobody, I don't think, saw coming. But it's one that when we tested with, we really, really liked, especially the GT4 car. And so, did the teams that they picked a car that they liked? Did they pick a car that maybe they wish they'd picked something different? But you're stuck with it now, and they're going to have to make it through the season. And I think every team will have a track that they're strong at and one that they're not strong at.
Yeah, looking at the way the schedule plays out, I totally agree that that'll be how it goes. That there's going to be some winners and losers every week, and I think that some days we're going to hear people talking about how much they love their car and how great it was, and then probably the next week you're going to hear them just cursing their car out and saying it's a heap of crap.
Yep, and that's kind of how it is in the professional leagues too, and in real world.
Absolutely.
That is what it is. So we haven't had a drink with a driver in quite almost a month. I think it's been since we've published a video. And just been so many things going on and setting up this GT3 league and qualies and just work and just making all this stuff, get it all together to have this weekend. So we haven't really been able to talk about a lot, but we did have the weekend prior to GT3, we had Sunday Cup as usual and on alternating weekends. And over on the Sunday Cup, yours truly, you are where?
See, I need a beverage for this.
Gotcha. Okay.
Fortunately, it's a very short trip.
Yeah, good.
Sorry about
that. Over on the Sunday Cup, you are leading after one round, we'll say, of very interesting racing from Zen, his created race of Why So Serious, which good title. I'll grant him that. It was nothing serious about it all. I think DNF'd the last one.
I think there was one serious thing about the race, and that was the set of skills that I displayed in handily winning back-to-back first and second places out of the 3 race. Sorry, two back-to-back first places, which that'll be the only shit I talk about that, by the way, because I don't know what happened there. I truly feel like I was possessed by like the Speed Force or something. I fell apart completely when we got to Roads of Willow Springs. So like, but holy cow, like that car and track combination, those 3 tracks listed with that car were insane. Like that way, it seemed impossible.
Well, job well done, I do say, because 2 wins on those tracks with that car. Yeah, Well
The
done.
thing that is the most confusing to me about it is that I thought that if I got any kind of a good result, it would be from kind of holding it together for myself, and maybe other people would like get spicy around me, and I would just kind of survive and be the benefit. And instead, like for those first two races, I kind of got in front and stayed there for the most part. And I genuinely don't think I could do it again if you put a gun to my head. Like I don't know what it was that was going on there. It was, but I'll tell you what, it felt incredible. I don't know that I've won any other races in a league. I think I've turned in a couple of decent performances here and there, and every one of them has felt like solid gold. Like those felt like race wins to me. So coming away with two of them and feeling like they were on the merit rather than just sort of inheriting it as a victim of circumstance of like, obviously we were all casualties of the Why So Serious race, you know? So yeah, I mean, like it's great to be in first place for a minute. I don't expect to stay there for longer than a minute because, of course, next race we have the Clubman Cup coming up again. So we got Zen's insane mini coming up. Preston has just basically been out for my blood, like for the whole series. Is so like his cars and mine are always so close, and he just has been. Frankly, he's been faster. Like I mean, like I sort of eked him out the first time around, and the second time around, he had me like pretty cleanly. And I think the only reason I got him overall on the scorecard for that series was that basically he had like dropped one race, he missed a race or something, and now it's like I've got to savor those wins because I'm going to get just absolutely pounded from so many directions next week.
Heavy is the head that wears a crown, right?
Oh man, it'll get knocked off in a hot minute. It doesn't even belong here, but it was great race. It was way more fun than I thought it would be. I think I really was in the minority of people that actually had fun with that. But I really genuinely did have fun with it. I thought it was insane, and who was it that maybe it was Bessa that was saying it would be like better suited to a fun night. And that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard either, but still, like I think that having the winner get to pick a race like that, and it's great, and it's almost like tradition, right? That it's like, hey, well, you're gonna hate one of these, but someone's getting the points.
Well, that's why we did it. It was like, we came up that about years ago, and very in the early creation of the league, and we were like, look, I design 99% of these things. Let's give the winner something to do, and that's, you design a race that you want to do. And Glovis is famous or infamous for his races. I personally like Glovis races. He did the NASCAR themed one time, which I missed and I'm still upset about. Then he did the one with the little rental cars or whatever they were, little hybrids or
that the one where you had the like tiny cars that we had to like use the three cars on the three separate tracks, and you could
yeah,
have the three separate tunes. Yeah, that was crazy. That
yeah.
was a lot of fun. That series was fun.
It was. You look at it from the outside and you're like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then
Yeah.
you run it and you're like, man, this is actually pretty fun.
Yeah, no, and that's been actually they're 2 for 2 for me in that way. Like that I've been around for two of them, and they've all on paper seemed for various reasons bad, like just straight up bad.
Mhm.
And then doing it was like, this is actually pretty cool. This is actually there's something to this. Someone thought this out more than just throwing a dart at like what's the dumbest thing I could do to make someone hate me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we do, like you said, you got the Clubman Cup coming up. Then we've got the Corvette Challenge,
Mhm.
and then the rest of the season with a view to a drive. It fits its ships. We haven't released all the rule sheets, but they're gonna be interesting. Let's just say maybe not as interesting as Why So Serious, but interesting nonetheless. And then we wrap with the Sunday with the Clubman 700. And of course, next season our winner will design another race in 2024 when we start up Sunday Cup again. So whoever that person is, if you got that idea, be thinking about it. So far right now it's you, Bad Rock. So
Oh yeah,
um
no, I'm not even daydreaming of those combinations right now. Like I know exactly where I belong in that Sunday Cup series, and it is towards the bottom. That as a variety series, you get to do so much different stuff, and like your adaptability plays into it so much, right? And like sort of where your strengths are, not just on the track, but like in terms of being able to come with the tunes and kind of have ideas about like what it is that might work or might not work around different circuits, right? And some of the guys in the league just so talented at doing that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're just really well-rounded, well-developed drivers. And those are the guys that are just going to be kicking my butt for the rest of the series. But like, I'm here for it. That's how you learn. That's how you get better.
Right, right. And it's just come up in the last several days recently is another creation of another league, which we
Yeah.
put out
Very
with
excited about that.
Besso and the Mazda League. So that is going to be really cool.
Oh yeah, super exciting. Him and Boat, and I feel like there was another one that was involved in that. I'm sorry that I'm blanking on it, but that is a super exciting series. I jumped right on that when I saw those channels go up because, like, for one, in iRacing and rookies, like running the MX5 Cups, pretty much what you do, and it's just a fun little car to drive. Like it really is, and it's something that you can drive it pretty quickly. Okay, fine, but like to drive it really quickly, you really have to be putting your all into it, and I just think it's a great to have a series like that that's going to be focused on sort of a slower car, but that really more fundamentals are going to be what comes through in that series, I think, for the winners.
They set it up perfectly too. We had a forum and we were helping them out developing, although the traditional admins, we held back and we let these guys run with it. And they created this, but they did it perfectly. The tires that they picked are the right tires. You get a good enough grip, but just enough slip
Yeah.
too that, like you're saying, that fundamental really comes in, and the fun factor is really going to be there, especially with a whole field of these things on a little track and like the scuba. Like it's going to be just awesome. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Yeah, racecraft is going to be really, I think, what separates the men from the boys on that one.
Exactly. So we got that to look forward to after Sunday Cup starting. It's like October 29th or something along that. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but something along those lines. So Sunday Cup days are loading up, and of course the opposite Sunday is already pretty much all GT days, and so we've got that loaded up, and there will be coming up at some point. We're gonna still have to develop it. Is the endurance, and we're still putting the final touches on it. I can promise everybody, I've said it in the Discord 1,000 times. I've made numerous posts about it. I'm going to say it on this podcast. If you don't have the Ferrari and you do not have the Ford, when it comes available, you need to buy it. Reason being is one day when we get this set up and we figure out how to balance this and the teams and put this race together, we will be doing Ford versus Ferrari, and you don't want to not have these vehicles because you can't just immediately go out and buy them at any point. So if you don't have those two, get those two and hold on to them. I know they're expensive. We're talking about a lot of grinding hours, a lot of time.
Are those the $20 million cars?
Well, they might. Well, I've heard, and we were talking about this. The Ferrari, I believe, was going to be, or maybe the Ford was going to move to one of the $20 million slots. It wasn't traditionally, but I think the rumor has it, or that it's going to the next time be 20 million.
But they are the legend cars that like cycle in and out, right?
They are,
and you need them both.
Need them both.
Okay.
And the reason is we don't know the format of how it's going to be put together
right
yet. So to give the flexibility, you got to have both to have that flexibility. And it's just, it is what it is. Fortunately, we can sell cars now. When we initially were putting this thing together, there wasn't that ability. So you're literally trying to grind for these things. And I think there were 14 million for the pair or something like that. But we're trying to put that together. That there will be another, and we're really shooting, guys, for another endurance race in 2023. It's going to be tight whether or not we can squeeze it in and work it in December. That's really about the only time slot that we have, and that's a really rough time to try to put something together with the holidays right there. So we might get kicked over into 2024, but we're going to try to get one more in this year, but we'll see how it goes. And we'll go from there. We don't know how it's going to be, what it's going to be, with the format. May not be Ford versus Ferrari. but it is coming. 100% guarantee you there is going to be an endurance event, Ford versus Ferrari.
So what
Can't
you're telling
wait.
me is I should continue to practice sitting in the rig 3 hours at a time.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
not
right.
going
All
away.
right.
That
Okay.
is not going away.
Excellent.
It's too much fun, too much of a challenge, and we have too much of a great time with it. So that is what's on the horizon. Again, more GT3 next weekend is Sunday Cup with the Clubman 600. So, get out, tune your cars. Are you ready?
No, I have not started tuning my car, but I will say that my thought this whole time has been that my GTI has been suffering in the first 2 rounds because I think as a car, I've had to detune it so hard that really a lot of the sort of defining characteristics of it, get flattened. I think as the PP level goes up, I think that hopefully the car kind of gets to grow into the tune a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm not quite as hampered by it. That's my strategy. That's what I'm hoping. I think the reality is I'm gonna get annihilated, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna go down swinging.
And you have one tuned ready to go for dirt, yeah?
Oh yeah, no. So that no. I'm just gonna slap the dirt tires on it and hope for the best. But that is one where I do feel like I generally kind of do rally okay. So I'm kind of just hoping that some of the we're gonna find out. I'm hoping that that's true, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's kind of my thing too. I haven't done a lot of testing with my car, and you know, it is what it
It's a
is.
group three. It's the beginning of the group three season. I mean, there's not for nothing. I'm making choices that are gonna stick with me for the whole rest of the year. And
Exactly.
Sunday Cup, it's like I made my choices, and now it's just I got to live with them. Like
Exactly.
for the third time. Let's be real.
Yeah, 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 you really do. I mean, it's in GT3, it does. GT3, GT4, whichever one of those, it occupies so much testing time, calculation time, strategy time, putting it together, how you're going to do. And, when you're working, 8, 9, 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to test in that off time and do the family thing, it doesn't leave a lot of time. And that 2 weeks time period, which sounds like a lot, it gets eaten up. And next thing you know, you're right on top of race day.
Yeah. So this is why I'm just cold and distant with my children and my wife, so that I can make sure that I have all the time that I need to prepare for the Sunday Cup.
There you go. There you go.
Priorities. It's important to have priorities, Merc.
Hey, got to do it, right? So, so all right. Well, we've got everything laid out. Everybody, we'll see everybody on the track. Badrock, thank you again for sitting in with Junkai. We hope he gets over his virus thingy, whatever he's got.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure he'll be back on the track. I don't know if he's driving in Sunday Cup. He doesn't normally. So he did that for this one. I don't really know why. I guess he just couldn't.
Thrill of the hunt, maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
Love of the game. I don't know.
I don't know. So I don't know if he'll be there for the Clubman, but probably not. So he'll have like a bye week. Yeah. But everybody, thank you for joining us again for another episode of Drink with a Driver. We'll see you again in about 2 weeks ish time, where we'll do it again for after round 2 of GT3, GT4 racing. Until then, we'll see all of you on the track. Talk to you again. Night, everybody.